My name is Kathryn Mone. I'm a master in public administration. I went to UNH undergrad. I ended up double majoring in sociology and political science. It took me 6 years, I think, because I did take a semester off and went to the police academy. I was hired full-time as a police officer, but I was able to go right back to it finished part-time, and I was motivated at that time to continue on in the public administration master's program. At the time, also, it was evening classes mostly, and I worked midnight shifts, which started at 9 p.m. So I could go to the evening classes and then make it to work for my shift. So it was nice that it was doable for a full-time professional. There aren't many females, as I mentioned before. In terms of administrative, upper positions, there were only 3%. I think last count, there's only 60 female sheriffs in the country, which is not a lot. This is if you look at the layout of sheriffs across the country, this is a man's job. When I first started my career 20-something years ago, I really wanted to fit in and be one of the guys, to be seen as tough and as capable, and just that was really how I thought I was going to succeed and get respect and be the most effective. And at some point, I learned that as a woman, as who I am, I had unique traits that made me a great police officer if I would just be myself. And I started believing that day. And I have just seen over the year how valuable women in law enforcement are. My office is in the basement of the Superior Court. So we have jury trials often, and I really enjoy the whole process of our country's system of law. So I'll be working on something at my desk, and we will get notice that the jury has come back with a verdict, and my office is charged with bringing the defendant over from the jail if it's someone that is held. So we'll bring the defendant over, and then I will have time to go upstairs and hear the verdict being read. And I just think that's such a powerful aspect of our system, and it's really neat to be able to witness that as part of my job. My experience with the MPA program, we learned how local government works, that law enforcement is just the piece of local government. And so I value that I have that bigger view of the other responsibilities of the community members, what the fire department's doing, what the city planners are doing, what the human resources department, all of the things that are happening at the state level, and how it affects the locality. Because it could be easy to have just that law enforcement vision, which is, these are the things we need. We need cruisers, we need staff, we need to lower the crime rate. But we're a very small part of the criminal justice system and government as a whole. So I'm glad I have that wider view, because we need the volunteer. We value all those other pieces. We have to value them, because we can't keep people safe without all the other things falling in place. So this is the FBI National Academy. So it's just for people that are pretty committed to their local or state police department. I think something like 2 or 3% of law enforcement gets to go to it, maybe less than that. You have to be nominated and accepted, and it is something that in law enforcement it's considered an honor to be selected, and it's an academic program. So you do a lot of research, higher level academic things in leadership and law enforcement. It's people, law enforcement professionals from around the world, which is just, it was an amazing experience. It's just amazing to see the way law enforcement is done across the country and across the world. And it is the connections that we all made in terms of sharing ideas of the way we're doing things in New Hampshire that might be better than the way they're doing things in another state, and just being able to collaborate to try to get to the best answer for this field. And I think because I had learned so much from the MPA, it was just really an addition to what I'd learned here. The two that come to mind that I'm most proud of is implementing a school resource officer at our K through 8 school there. And then the second one was being part of the planning and a successful vote for a new police and fire station. And so the school resource officer, I really like school police officers in school. I believed a police officer could serve in a school in this community. I have a very, very passionate about what I thought having someone there could mean for the staff and the students. And it's, has been a controversial issue in some places, but the discussions that I had where I could talk about what I saw as the purpose, which was for children to have another trusted adult and to develop positive relationships with law enforcement, and also to be of assistance to the staff, and not to be in there as an authoritative figure, but really as another support person. So I was proud that they trusted me and our department with choosing the right person to be there. And then the passing of the construction project was just a wonderful example of how local government works and how New Hampshire government works, and just what it takes to get that buy-in of a community. And we had building committees and just everything that I would want as a case study for a Masters of Public Administration of the bonds and the bids and and just being there when the votes were tallied at the elementary school, and getting that 62% of the vote, and just those local government things that I really like to be a part of. I appreciated that several of I think most of the teachers were practitioners, so working in the field. I had one professor who worked for public sector unions, and I really enjoyed that class, seeing it from his perspective. And I, at the time, was in the union as a police officer, as a member of a public safety union. And now I became president of the union, and now I've, on the other side, negotiated contracts on the administrative side. And I think it was such a good basis before I really knew anything about unions, I learned it in this class from someone who was working in the field, and it was very interesting, his perspective and how he could teach us all sides of it, and I appreciated him. We did a project, just really dug into how local government works. We went to a small town on the western side of the state, and the town council encouraged us all to come and help them with a project. And our finished product was of service to them, which was one of my great values. And just seeing how the small towns work in New Hampshire, and being a part of that was really exciting. I think another one was the tour of the state prison with the corrections class that I took, and it was like administrating corrections, which I'm dealing with a lot more aspects of that now. But going on the tour of the state prison was memorable, definitely. And the professor had just so much experience with the corrections field. It felt very job related. I did my capstone for the town of Durham. I presented to the town council, and I was very nervous. And over the years, I've had to present to town councils, to commissions, and it just gets easier and easier. So it's a great place to learn as a MPA student, to present my findings, and now I'm presenting, this is why I need you to vote on buying these police cars, and so hands-on experience was really good. One more thing about having the master's, it's very valuable. I'm glad that I did it. Is I've been teaching Intro to Criminal Justice at Great Bay Community College, which is, I am loving doing that so much. And it's, that MPA that gives me that credential. And growing up, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, but it was the aspect of standing in front of people and talking that I didn't like, whether it was kids or adults. So I would say that probably the MPA program helped me with that. When I started, I wanted to be change kind of what people thought of as a typical law enforcement officer, and being approachable is one of the things that I've always really valued. If you need to talk to a law enforcement officer about anything that's happened, I want you to think, okay, I can call Kathryn. And when that happened, when I get those calls, that's like when I know, like, my career's been worth it, is if I can help someone that is really struggling, that maybe wouldn't feel comfortable with any other law enforcement officer, but they feel that they can call me. It's definitely worth it. I was glad I did it right away while I was still in the mindset, but I think wherever you are, in just getting out of school or been in the workforce a while, the public administration master is very valuable.